This is a training on supervision. Going to be discussing with you, my assistant principals, just some expectations for this school year. I know that you guys are new and you're beginning your first years as an assistant principal. And I have some expectations and guidelines that I like to follow in regards to supervision and teacher development, and would like for you guys to follow those same guidelines. And so then that's what this training will entail. We're going to be able to match our supervisory style with teacher level of development. The agenda for today will be you must control teacher development, and we'll learn what that entails. Also, understanding the 3 supervisory styles that we will discuss, and then we will have a closing with a survey that we're going to take just to kind of get an idea of what your supervisory style is. I definitely think that you should know your supervisory style. You should be considering it. We all have ideas, and we've heard things about the best supervisory styles, but it depends on the individual, and more so it depends on your principal, as we all want to try to make sure we're on the same accord during the school year. So let's move on. Control teacher development. First, you must understand who the decision maker will be. You must decide what is effective or ineffective. You must decide what will change and when. Will you be the decision maker? Will the teacher be the decision maker? Will you and the teacher share decision making? And I think that, as you begin to get to know your teachers, build rapport with teachers, build relationships with teachers, this will come a little bit easier to you in determining what kind of supervisory style you need to use. But I think it's important that you understand that there are going to be times to where that circumstances are going to cause for you to, have to make tough decisions, or have to, do I need to work with the teacher in this particular situation? Or do I need to take a leadership role here? Do I need to kind of, guide them toward their own answers? And that's where we're headed in this presentation. There are 3 supervisory styles: directive supervision, collaborative supervision, and non-collaborative supervision. In directive supervision, the supervisor controls diagnosis, prescription, timelines. And what this means is once you are finished giving your diagnosis, prescription, and timelines, you will invite the teacher to say whatever he or she would like. However, you are the decision maker. You will not be negotiating, arguing, trying to convince, or attempting to reach consensus. You give your expectations, and that is final. In a directive supervisory style, you are laying down, the guidelines, the procedures, protocol, different things like that you want to see followed. If there is, some areas in their teaching style where teachers can improve, then this is where you go in and you say what you would like to see improve based on observations and different things like that, data, and teachers will have a rebuttal for that. But in the directive style, there should not be any rebuttals. You listen to their feedback, but that's basically to make sure that they understand the directives that you've given them. Next, collaborative supervision. The supervisor and teacher share control of the diagnosis and prescription. present the objective data from the observation, and offer a range of suggestions. You also share control of the timeline. This teacher may need assistance in identifying the problems and the solutions. So then with the collaborative supervisory style, it's okay to share diagnosis and prescription, share the necessary things to try to get that teacher where you need them to be performance-wise. Data is going to be important here. What can we do to improve certain areas in the data, and making sure the teachers are informed of, the areas that they are weak in, and trying to work together with the teacher to improve. So this is all about collaborating with them, listening to them, and helping them, and you both coming together to fix whatever the issues may be. Whether it's timeline, you set timelines, different things like that. I'll be back in your room on a certain day. We'll go through this again. I'll observe you. Different things like that, just to try to make sure that you guys are on the same page before that meeting is over with. Moving on. Non-directive supervision. This teacher has the ability to share control of diagnosis and prescription issues with the supervisor. However, you may need to control the timeline by reminding this teacher what he or she committed to do and setting a deadline for doing it. So, with the non-directive supervision, this teacher has the ability to share control of diagnosis and prescription. So then, it may not always be the way the way in which they're presenting the material. Classroom management is probably not an issue here. Instructional methods and strategies, there may be some things there that need to be fixed. Timeline, we want to make sure that they understand timelines of, when things should be fixed and expectations there. And we want to give these teachers deadlines for fixing any instructional issues that they may have. But with the non-directive teacher, sometimes they may feel as if, I don't have these major issues over here, so there's really, nothing that I need to improve. But, the data may say differently sometimes. And so with that being said, it is up to us to take that leadership role and decide if we need to turn our non-directive supervision into a more directive supervisory style. And so then that's kind of the case here. But again, this is based on building rapport with your teachers, building relationships with your teachers. It's up to you as their supervisor to get the most out of them. And we always want to separate the data from personal feelings, student performance and student achievement from personal feelings, because sometimes you may have a teacher who feels as if, I don't need to improve, or you're picking on me. And that's not the case. We're looking at data. We're looking at classroom observation. We're looking at the way the material or classroom instruction is presented at that time. And there are going to be areas where each teacher will need some improvement, some more than others. Moving on. So then now, I've already taken this survey activity, and I found that I lean heavily toward a directive supervisory style. And with that being said, I'm just someone who believes in, I have expectations. I expect you to follow them. I do believe in collaborating, and I do believe in non-directive approaches as well. But at the same time, I never want my teachers to be confused on what my expectations are. And so I do favor a directive supervisory style. Now, with that being said, I do not, that doesn't necessarily mean that I favor a classroom micromanaging style, because I don't want to do that either. I don't want to micromanage my teachers. I just want to give them expectations, guidelines, rules, and procedures to follow. I don't want them to be confused on that. And then we move on from there. So then what I want you to do, I want you to take this supervisory style survey. Once you have completed the survey and calculated your results, I would like for you to write a reflection that includes a discussion over the results of your inventory. Does the inventory survey match how you feel? Why or why not? How can you use the information in your assistant principal role this school year? And once you've done that, we're going to come back together. We're going to discuss your reflection on this survey, and then we're going to go from there. Thank you very much. Let's get started on our survey, and we'll go from there.